phenomenal breakout game and do really well. We also have, oh, well, what if they just underperform or get shut down early? There's always a million factors. There's always that RNG, and there's the other players to account for. So if one team is having a really good game, think of all the teams they murdered that are having really bad games.
That is very, very true. And some of the consistency, I gotta say, Team Recron in 7th place, actually just consistent. There's not massive scores coming out of them, and somehow they're still 7th. I suppose one big game could put them on top here. But yeah, some of these teams right now, as we come to this stage of the tournament, it's difficult to get yourself too far ahead, essentially. Like, if you speak about these teams in this page, especially 11th to 20th ton, they are going to have some lights out games to finish it off.
I mean, look, there's another example there. I mean, the one we've been speaking about all the way through, Team FIFA Kill, 23 points right now. But again, if they can do what Jaffa and Co just did and put up a 40-point game, all of a sudden, you know, you're back in there. But you need to do 2 of them if you're in this kind of position, don't you? You need 2 35 to 40-point games at least in the next 2 games to get yourself in this spot where you can potentially win. Some other teams down here, though, that I didn't necessarily expect to be on. Team Flex especially, I really thought that they would go and crack on and do quite well. That's quite poor from them. Team Pokey at the bottom as well, not having a great time. So yeah, it's not looking great. And the team who looked so good in that very first tournament we jumped into, Team Lowen, they're dead last. Dead last. I mean, if that just doesn't tell you absolutely everything that you need to know about Warzone at times, then I don't know what else could.
I also got to say 3 of the most prominent names in UK Warzone: the Angelica, FIFA Kills, and Team M's, all basically sitting on that 3rd page. I was not expecting to see that, Jess.
Yeah, and these tournaments always do come with a degree of expectations and then a degree of not necessarily disappointment, but maybe surprise. And it kind of just goes to show you can't really make predictions. And for as much as we do sit around saying, oh, what are we expecting? What are we predicting? That's all going to go out the window the minute we actually hit the ground in Caldera, you know, because there's just so many factors to account for. You can be used to winning all the time. You can even be coming off of a win from a different event, but guess what? This event has different creators in it. It's just a different subset of people. Maybe you just don't hit that magic combination, or some other team does hit that magic combination of the right teammates. They land in the right spot. They get the right ground loot, and it all kind of works for them. And, you know, of course, there is that huge degree of skill to account for, but you can't deny how powerful some of those other factors can really be. So as much as we can say, like, oh, I'm surprised that this team isn't putting up as many kills, or I'm surprised that this team isn't doing as well as they quote unquote should be. You know, Caldera really has other plans in store, it seems sometimes, and there's just a lot you can't control for.
There certainly is. Well, it looks like the game is ready. We can jump straight into game number 4 here on Twitch Rivals, and we are going in with, I mean, that was an impressive hat last time. It's grown, Ton and Jess. I don't know what's going on.
He's evolving, man. That's what it is. I'm waiting for the blonde one next time.
That's
amazing. My
amazing.
2nd play, sensational. Absolutely, I love the whole outfit. I didn't notice the cloak either until just a second ago. I mean,
yeah, when we saw him before, we just saw the hat. We didn't see the hair. I suppose he must have changed that, and I hope that's his shtick, that he changes something every game. And like this is crazy to me that he is such a good player. They're doing so well, and then he's clearly such a good entertainer as well. Like, this is exactly what I meant when I said that I love these creator tournaments, these Twitch Rivals events, because I'd never heard of this person before. You know, I'm sure he's very, very well known, but I personally had never heard of him. Like, now I have to go watch his Twitch channel because this is incredibly entertaining.
Not usually the case that you get somebody who's a great entertainer and also a great player. It's very much sometimes one or the other. But as you can see, MoveMind, a 9.37 KD that he has. So, yeah, fairly decent, has to be said. One of his teammates, though, has been caught out in the open. So MoveMind going to have to try and do something. A player caught out in the middle of nowhere. The gunny is there, though. Not quite from MoveMind. Has to close the door. A slither. And I mean a slither of health remaining, which means anybody can push you with a pistol and drop you. So the team who are currently sitting in 2nd, 2 players going to be heading the Gulag pretty early. Looks like CHS is potentially going to get away. Shots coming in. Looks like he's actually in a gunfight right now. CHS also going to fall. So all 3 members of the team who are sitting 2nd, and by the way, that's only by a minimal amount of points, are now finding themselves into the Gulag.
Well, just as we were saying before, I mean, you know, MoveMind his team is a great example of this, that the first 2 games they did super well. He was actually the example that Bryce highlighted, and then third game they only got 6.5 points, and then here we are game 4. Like, I mean, this could be the end of the road here. We'll see what happens with this gulag momentarily, but
let's see. Could do with winning this. Going up against Gentashi, he's been stunned up, he's in a bad spot here, gets challenged, gets gunned as well, and Move Mind falls out. His rest of his team need to make sure they survive here. Swedes now in up against Feast slowly. Shot's coming in with a great shot with this shotgun. The team do survive. CHS is in as well. It's important that he survives also though. Sweds can't just do this all on his own. CHS going up against Berry TV. Oh, and he gets gunned as well, so 2 out. Now it's up to Sweds to go and manage to do something. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to do so. So keep an eye on that. Now over towards Team FIFA Kill, Juki's Wars, and of course FIFA Kill. Seeing what they can do. They are 25th. Going into game number 4. We need to see monumental pace set in this game. And then maybe they've got a chance. It's going to be a second kill coming in here for Juki's at least. They run into a team. They need to run into plenty more, and they need to not die whilst doing so.
Stay really tight, boys.
yeah, this is really coming down to the wire in these last 2 games. This is where, you know, the standings are, of course, not set in stone, nothing's solidified. But it's also tough to make any sort of movement. I mean, especially, you know, for, God, poor Move Mind's team. You know, I hope their remaining teammate is able to make something happen, but that's a really tough way to go out, and completely destroys my earlier theory when I said, oh yeah, some of these teams have a really good game, they build off of that momentum. I mean, Move Mind's team had that momentum, and they did not capitalize on it. Unfortunately, they did get shut down twice in a row now.
This is really good from Juki's, actually. Sorry to interrupt it.
Oh no, go for it.
He's repositioned just to get a better angle. The rest of his team were being pushed. Goes for the rechal as well with the MP40. Dipping and diving. Where's the rest of the team? Doesn't need them. As Juki's finds the shot. That's another kill coming on through. FIFA Kill already has 5. Juki's has 3. There's 120 people remaining. This is the kind of game we needed to see out of this team. It's the kind of game we know they can pull off. Let's go on board with our winners from the previous game, though, with Quicker Than You of Team Jaff. Already one member of the team, that being Jaff, out of the game. No Gulag. Already lost that, or has been dropped twice. Quicker Than You now.
That's the
Veterancy level player. Jess, did you ever speak to Quicker Than You?
No.
No? Okay.
Was he a CWL player?
Yeah. Way back.
Maybe, because does he just go by Quicker? Because that sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was... I'm trying to remember. Bryce likes to recall. What was it? What teams was he on again? What were they called?
Maybe
Oh, yeah.
Named after him.
Clearly I did. This guy, I mean, this was so long ago at this point. That's the funny thing.
Team
Yeah,
Sween, that's it. There you go.
Team Sween? Oh, yeah, I remember them. That's right. I pulled up his profile, and I'm like, oh, that's right. We're following each other on Twitter. So clearly, yeah, I did have interaction with him so long ago that I've completely forgotten. So many players have come through the CDL. There's been so much turnaround that, you know, if they're not actively playing, sometimes I just don't focus on them.
Yeah, he's done quite well in the Warzone scene. I mean, they're currently sitting 4th in. Well, unfortunately, he's been gunned there. Shucks will catch him out. Oh, he's actually done very well there, Shucks. He finds the shots in, knows he's going to jump on down. Jumps down on top of him, causes that problem. So Jaff is back into the game, but Quicker Than You. And a tough spot. Now, let's jump over to Team Drew, I do believe. Oh, it's Team Jesus Jr., sorry. They're currently sitting 3rd with 60 points. And these guys can definitely do damage here. I said 3rd already. Really nice spot. But I think, you know, just theory crafting a little bit. For these teams who are sitting near the top, they don't need to go crazy. They can be putting up a 20-point game, and then we see what happens heading into the last. See what you have to do. You'll still want to do a pretty well. I mean, look, you don't want to go too soft, I would say. But at the same time, they know they don't need to set the pace and go crazy in this game. They can take their time. We can see they're doing that from their game.
Right, because if you try and, like you said, set the pace, and if you try and go crazy, there's that risk portion of the
100%.
high risk, high reward equation. These guys are in a position where they don't need to be taking those risks. They can kind of sit back and say, all right, maybe the other teams will take some risks and it'll kind of bite them in the ass, but that's not us. We can play it safe.
I got sniped by
Oh,
fucking
Jesus
Miles,
Jr.'s been
man.
dropped, actually. He's been away off on his own. He's going to get caught. So that is not ideal. Lennon and Drew need to now survive. Shots going to go in here from Lennon as well. They're good ones at that. Ground loot STG doing the work for him here, and also has the MP40 in hand. Has been spotted, has to back on down, does now have some support from Drew. The kill is then going to be confirmed. Is he going to go for this gunfight as well? Good shots in, blues that player, goes for the challenge immediately, and not quite. Trying to run away, the callouts coming in from Jesus Jr. There's two there, there's two there. Let's be careful. It's Drew who's also with him. Lennon has been dropped. The self-revive's coming on through. It's going to be KK and Cut.
Can't get that kill.
It's going to have to be Drew to try and do something there.
Should I take the loadie?
Lennon now into the gulag.
There's people, no? You got chests on your right.
Drew having to survive. Didn't look like there was too many kills on that scoreboard either.
All good, all good. Fine, fine, we're fine.
Probably just get out, bro.
So Drew could do with winning that gunfight. Lennon kind of really does need to win this gulag. In with the NZ41. Who's he going to be going up against this early in the game? It's going to be Sebi. Lennon go for the challenge in the middle. Guns him as well. Well played from Lennon. Gets himself into that cover. He's back into the game with a weapon that he can use. Is he going to drop on his teammate or just the loadout? The loadout would probably make more sense.
So here's a question I have for you, Ton, about Team Jesus Jr. You know, they're sitting in third place. They're doing very, very well. And then, as we see them here in Game 4, having just a few stumbles. I wonder how much of that is up to, you know, just RNG, they're kind of having a bad game, versus how much of it do you think is, you know, they have a target on their backs. The other teams see them and go, oh, we want to shut them down.
I think it's, you know, it's just game to game. I would say the shutting down of other teams is a lot harder to do in terms of actually picking and choosing, I would say. It's kind of just whoever you run into, and it's a bonus if it's one of the top teams to kind of drag them into it. I think it's more so just if you do see a fight and you think, right, okay, let's take that, we know who it's against, this would be good for us, then great. But I wouldn't say teams necessarily go actively hunting. So I would say for Team Jesus Jr. in this case, just maybe a little bit of a rough start, but they're still alive and kicking, and that's all they want. As said, just a very average game out of them would do at this point, so they know what they have to do to attack heading into game number 5. We're into game number 4 here, and now we're on board with Team Jaff, 4th place for them, 56 points on the board. A little bit of a weird spot, Capital, a lot of buildings that people can chill in, and when your loadout is bang in the middle of the roundabout, doesn't necessarily make it too easy to grab a hold of. Plenty of places you could be shot from, and you know for a fact that a lot of these players who are hanging out in Capital will very much be keeping an eye on these loadouts.
I can hear him in the opposite building, mate.
There's a guy over there. Contact.
Comms coming on through, marking players whilst they can. And again, for these guys, you know, maybe earlier on in the day, you would see them maybe go in the challenger team of 3 and say, right, okay, let's take this fight. But now that they're in such a good position in the penultimate game, it's one of those, it's risk v reward time and time again. It's about taking these fights. It's about only taking the ones that you know are guaranteed. That's why we're seeing them play quite slow in the Capital.
Excellent use of the word penultimate.
Thank you. After I said it, I was like, I always doubt myself.
No, that was flawless. That was exactly how it should be. People, I think a lot of people misuse that word because it's not a word you hear a ton. I think it's a word we should hear a lot more. Not to make a pun on your last name, a ton, but we don't hear that word a lot, and I think we should. And you know, the way it sounds when you hear penultimate, it kind of sounds like, oh, it's a really big, really, you know. But in reality, penultimate means second to last. So yeah, you used that was like beautiful.
This is the kind of gas that, you know, I need to get more from people like Brycey, but I never really do get it. So Jess, you know, I would like to just say thank you for the confidence booster.
You're welcome. It's a shame Bryce doesn't gas you up more.
We're not going to sit here and pretend that Ton doesn't have an incredible ego, by the way. We're not going to sit here like this man needs gassing up any more in his life. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm the big bad because I don't worship the ground he walks on.
Well, you should.
Well, no.
Just sounds like Bryce needs some gas after this.
Maybe
what I'm
he
hearing.
does. Try and pick out a word that he says during the little segments that we do.
Yeah, I'll compliment him on
All
it.
my words are flawless. All my words are perfect.
Yeah, there's just so many good words to choose from. I can't compliment them all.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you know, when it happens with me, it's a bit of a surprise. Anyway, here we go. Team Ana Marrero currently sitting in 32nd. Need to get a game under their belts. Yeah, that is really going to cause some problems to some of these teams in that mid-pack. I said, look, every single team does get paid when it does come to Twitch Rivals. The further you get up, the more you get paid. So for all these teams, there's still stuff to play for. That's the idea. So they are making an advancement here, at least on the team. And they're just going to drop down low. Trying to support. Someone's really setting pace up on top there. You can see the orange one in the top left corner of the minimap. Very much ahead of the pack.
Oh yeah. The other two were just kind of trying to play catch up.
This is what I remember it being like anytime. And I know Bryce plays with these guys, but when you play with some of the the former pros in Europe and stuff, I am lagging behind at all stages. Much pace being set. I remember I used to be playing with, like, I haven't played with them for a while. I know Bryce, you still play with them, but playing with Swanee and co, and I'm just like, I'm lost. He's completely ignored me, by the way, after that conversation we just had.
I was just going to point out the fact that you were always lost.
Oh.
Excellent.
Wow.
And this is why Jess has to be here to gas me up, so I don't get a...
See, balance.
Yeah, exactly. Pentagon and Co, though, currently sitting 5th. Not a bad spot, and that's the thing. Between the top 5, there is really not much in it. Not much in it at all. It's one good game away for a lot of these guys. Pentagon currently with 5 kills to his name with 74 players remaining. Good spot. Very good spot. You can get yourself to the end of the game. Within that top 10, it's a decent game. A very, very decent game. But jumping across the board here. Now back on board. With, of course, Team Scroll. Yep. Currently sitting 13th, so not a bad turnout so far. And that's at 35 points. I feel like, you know, there's a high amount of point difference between the top, like, 5 and the top 15, I would say. Seems to be a good 30-point gap.
Yeah, and maybe
So far, Team Scroll are doing well.
maybe that's that skill gap that I often, not skill, point gap that I often see in other events. You know, I feel like I often see a bigger gap between, like, maybe the first 2 spots and everything else. But here, I think maybe it's just that point gap has kind of moved down a little bit. You know, the top 5 are just so close, and then after that, there's that kind of bump.
Good fight going on here for Team Jaff. Cluster strike incoming, need to get in amongst it. Quick with the 1 to find 2. Jaff needs to get down there and help his teammate out. Somebody already down, and that's going to be Briggs. They need to try and get it back up if they possibly can. Quicker than you says, I'll watch over, get the res.
I know, I can't get anyone.
Trying to look to find this kill, but weapons being picked up. That's good for them.
Is he on the left?
Looks like they have found some kills here as well, but Team Jaff sitting in 4th. Just having a slow game here, but that's fine nonetheless. I'd be very interested to see how Team Jesus Jr. did to maybe find themselves getting out of that rough little spot they were in. And have they been able to continue?
He's left. That's the 2 here, 2 different teams.
And let's consider that the team that was in 1st place very much looked like they were going out of this lobby at least. Big chill here from Team Jaff. Nothing too risky is going to be the play.
Yeah, we even hear them strategizing a little bit, kind of deciding what their next moves should be. It's. I mean, they're in a good spot in the standings, but of course they certainly do not want to throw that away.
Put your money, you two. Yes. Put your money in and one person go at a time. Now watch over.
Okay, so they're maybe buying a loadout?
This cash as well.
Yeah. I think we should get
Seems that way.
these buildings, you know.
Yeah, I'm down.
They're pulling their cash. So they want to buy
Self-revive, yeah,
something.
look, I mean, the call-out's just come through there. Do we just get the self-revives? Being on top of the buildings, it's something that could be very, very useful. There you go. Self going to come on through for quicker than you and Briggs. So the theory behind that is, for anybody watching at home and they're not 100% sure, you're on top of these buildings, you get knocked. Usually there's a little ridge that you can get yourself in a decent little spot to not be shot. Shot's going to be coming in here from Briggs. Isn't able to quite drag his aim over. Kill had already been found very, very recently by Quicker, I do believe. Could have been Jaff. Nonetheless, the team picked up the kill. More kills, more points. Further up the leaderboard they potentially could go. Pentagon down on the floor now. Fusion is out, so Darzat needs to get over. Needs to get his teammate up, and they need to get cracking. 5th place, they need a good game, Jess.
Yeah, the same could be said about a lot of teams. You know, and before, a few minutes ago when we were spectating Team Pentagon, I was actually about to say, you know, bold prediction, I think Team Pentagon could win this overall, considering they're in 5th place now. Which, and I'm not disagreeing with that prediction. I think I am gonna, you know, and who knows? That is my prediction. Pentagon wins overall, because as you can see, I mean, you know, they've got a few kills already. They're in 5th place overall. If they don't screw anything up, they could kind of keep rising up to the top. But it is tricky, you know, down a player, and you know, just who knows what could happen after this.
We go down and get UAV.
Go with Team Gargod. Dana now, 10th place for them. Decent little showing from the squad at the moment. Not completely out of the running to go that little bit further.
Yo, we can move up. We can move up. They're fighting.
Shot's going to be going in here from Dana. Yeah, the call-outs. We can move up. They're fighting. They want to get involved in any action in between teams and try to pick up what they can, pick up the pieces of a fight. That third party is so useful. And I think it's one of those things as well. Like you know for a fact when you're in a normal game of Warzone, you're in a fight in a 3v3. If you don't clean that up quickly, it's making plenty of noise. You could get collapsed on from elsewhere, and that is the worst situation possible. Timo Coyle here on board with Wiz. 2 kills to their name. All the teams towards the top have slowed down. Wiz can hear them outside. The shot's going in through the windows. Expecting the push to come with Kenny. Look, tag the members up, and there you go. The shots through the wall can come on through. He isn't quite able to land it, though. That little tag just helps him out, put that damage down, gets him out of a tough spot. Timo Coyle now up and running, still staying alive. Crucial that they do so.
Are you sure?
Does anyone need a munchies? Yeah, there was kids in front of us.
Immunity, yeah, I have snapshot. Drop me the immunity.
Then I'll just stack the same room.
Yeah, really curious to see what's going to happen the rest of this game, because 1st place, great. However, if you notice, Coyle only has 2 kills to his name currently. I'm sure he'll be able to pick up some more, and we don't know, you know, exactly what his teammate, or I'm sorry, the ab was that we're spectating right now, and we don't know what his teammates currently have. But this could be the end as Coyle does get knocked.
He does. No gulag either. Great grenade through the window. Wiz and Co are just going to have to back on down. Him himself and Kenny trying to back off. Kenny finding the shots, but Wiz takes a lot of them.
I might sneak this.
No armor. Is there a way out? Yes, there is. Just trying to escape as quickly as they possibly can. The other team know they've got them backs against the wall, and this is not a nice spot to be in for Timo Coyle. They may well be first, they may well have kills in this game, but they need to stay consistent.
Don't buy back yet. Hold on, let me buy place first.
Sounds like they are going to buy back Coyle, their fearless leader.
Plates being bought for Wiz first. Theory around that. If you call in that player, they know exactly where you are. Anybody nearby is alerted.
I hear kids in
There
there.
are players nearby, as we see.
No, yeah, it definitely is. Slow game here still from Denner and Team Gargod.
Yeah, it's so quiet.
Delio. Yeah, it is quiet, isn't it? Very different to what we've been seeing inside the Capital. Things are booting off in there, but right now, not really much going on outside.
Fall down the hill.
Third one down to his left-hand side, trying to tag it up.
Yeah, seen.
Oh, it's so hard to see glints.
Big game bounty started. So an opportunity to get some money under the belt and just get some information on players as well. It's so useful for that.
I don't think they can actually get back up.
Shot's going to go in here with the Bren. You're out in the open. It's a dangerous spot to be. Shot's not quite good enough, though. Does have that cluster strike if he does choose to use it. 5 kills to his name already. On board now with Danny Cooper. What can they get going? 34th right now. And bear in mind, actually, they finished second in one of these games and still 34th. Not the best showing from them.
That's tough, and that really just illustrates that principle we've been kind of talking about of like, yeah, if you finish 2nd place, 1st place, doesn't really matter. If you don't really have the kills to multiply, it's not really going to do anything.
I love their shirt, though. Just the whole get-up, actually.
Yeah.
I'm vibing off it.
That's a very, you know, Caldera shirt.
It is. I wonder if that's the purpose, or is it just his daily attire?
I bet he dressed for the occasion.
Hit it.
Oh,
Good shot. And the problem is with this, as said, it's those ridge lines around the building. How do you clean that
He'll
up?
get forced. He'll get forced.
Very difficult to do so.
I thought he was waiting for so long before finally.
One flying again.
Yeah, I got
Don't
them.
like the
I've
dip
just
of the hill
held
there.
this high line with gas
no.
here. Happy to take a little bit of damage
One's on
on
the
this
road, on
gas
the dip of
mask.
the hill. Like he's right there around that corner.
Exactly where they are. They're just playing the gas, playing the height as best as they can as well. Very well played from Team Gagod. That's plenty of kills coming their way.
Yeah, I think he's going to be right under us, you know. Let me pick up this SMG.
They know there's going to be somebody here. You can hear the comms coming on through. They just do not want to get caught
I'm
out.
literally stuck. I can't move, bro. I'm stuck in the rock. Oh, you are trolling me, man.
I'm glad to see
No way.
this team
Investment.
doing so well.
Oh.
Oh, is he
I'm gonna have to knock
stuck?
myself
Oh.
I can't help you. I can't
He
help you.
literally
Oh,
has
you're
to
gonna have
knock himself down so that he can be raised. That's crazy. Is he out?
He's out. Oh, and Denner has to find a kill all whilst in the middle of that one. So Delia going through the trials and tribulations, I would say. of Warzone. These things happen. These things happen. It's a big map.
Yes. Well, I have to assume, like, is that just like a little glitch, or like they would?
It must have been, yeah.
That's not like a map. That's not like a feature. Like, yes, and this, if they stand in this particular divot, they'll get stuck. Maybe there's a bear trap on the map right
If
here.
it was real,
Lurk
would
is
you
playing
get
Pokemon.
caught on a rock like that anyway?
Yes.
It could happen, Jess. It could happen.
It looked shallow, but again, maybe the way the rocks are arranged and the way his foot just got wedged in, it's possible.
You know what? Never let anybody tell you Cold Dew is not realistic.
I love this. Well, yeah. Okay, if we're gonna play that game, though, what about the fact that they have infinite parachutes in their backpacks? They pull one, they throw it away, they pull one out again, like, it's just...
You can reuse parachutes.
Yeah! What do? Do they stuff it back in while they're flying?
That would not be very viable in the middle of a gunfight, I suppose, would it? I mean, we could really, if we really want to go on, we could talk about Krampus, or we can just talk about AB Wiz hitting the shots. We're down to 8 teams. And this is still not a bad game whatsoever for Team O'Coil. They're sitting first right now. They're in the top 8. Bodies are dropping. 3 kills to Wiz's name, but I'd imagine the rest of his team do have a few themselves.
I'd say play gas.
And as you can hear, the teammates' comms coming up through. Every kill is huge. And it really is when it does come to these placements, and that's why we're seeing them play so slow. 7 teams remaining. I'd be very keen to stay with Wiz and see how far it can go. Shots are in, gets stuck.
Oh, what am I doing?
He's gonna fall out, and I think we're actually gonna get to see. Is it Stickinson and Co? Are they the ones that catch him?
Yes.
A little bit of a further delayed stream by the looks of things, and it was them who caught him. There you go, Wiz falls. It's almost like we're getting a replay, but in real time. Then you got Stickinson then dropping as well, though. The rest of his team's still alive. 6 teams remaining, including this one. 3 guys up on this one, and I do believe we'll have a couple of teams here who are still up and running, still with 3 players remaining on their roster. I think they're going to try and reposition. It's a bold move this time in the circle. They get across, though. And the problem is with this circle, there's so many rooms, so many tiers and levels of each of these buildings that are in the zone. It's going to make it very, very difficult to square up with people, but there's another kill going to come through from Stickinson. We talked about it. 3 games in a row they won during the World Series of Warzone. Can they win one here with 3 other teams remaining and another 6 players on the map in this very, very small circle in the capital of Caldera?
And this would be huge for them if they win. I mean, either way, this is a huge game for them. I'm just so interested to see how huge this is in the standings for them.
Has to back on down out of that fight. MP40 puts the bullets in. Quizzy finds another one, though. It feels like Stickinson and Co. are really on the charge here, just checking every single corner. Quizzy's found another. There's another team white. 2 teams remain. It's another team of 3. So 3v3 for the win. Shot's going to go in. Incense bullets are being hit. Stickinson looking for the shots. Quizzy and Co are combining well, though. It looks like some downs are coming on through. Maybe stuck in a little bit of a weak spot. We'll have that little lull in the team fight once the armor plates are then put back up. They go for the challenge now. Stickinson out the door. He's not going to be able to find anything, though. It looks like the fight's going to go in the direction of the other team. It's going to be Team Gagod from being stuck in the rock to first place as well. Huge game out of them and a really, really good game number 4.
Oh my gosh. That was my favorite game so far, I think.
Oh, I'll tell you something, that ending was good. It was a very good ending. It's not usual we get to see a kind of a full team go at it then. It's been more or less 1v1s the entire so far on Twitch Rivals, but that was a great ending. Trying to play the gas. They didn't have any room to maneuver. And that final fight, it was just throwing themselves into the blender and hoping